Well, but would be nice if I put myself in the shot. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is James Jimmy Hills. I am the host of Java with Jimmy here. Earlier this morning, I had begun to share some context around something with which I am dealing in reference to community voices. And I had a couple of notes and I'm going to stay with them. And so for those of you that are curious, that may have watched this morning, that may have heard that said, yo, Jimmy, was getting emotional this morning, those that are tuning in, the reason why I am raising the importance of how community voices are regarded and treated, engaged, and solidified when it comes to bringing community voices in what I frame as legacy mainstream media. For example, television networks, local news outlets. We are in a time prior to COVID, but in COVID, where community voices and now are at an all-time high. Legacy and mainstream media understand that platforms like this are becoming more favorable as society is able to customize their media experience. This platform was started in COVID with a strong central mission and foundation to prepare the Black community for the impact of COVID. Sharing resources and information in a space that wants to address inequities, especially when it comes to awareness of information. We have been impactful, and on March 24th of 2025, we will be able to celebrate 5 years of having impact in community. That is our goal. I am not sure if that is the goal of legacy and mainstream media outlets. They are in it for the business of journalism, of which I am not, and have professed since the beginning. I am not a journalist. I am a community voice, born, reared, raised in community, and have been blessed with the opportunity to move in all 3 levels of government local, municipal, and federal. I also have worked in the medical industry and was a program manager for the Pulmonary and Critical Care Medicine Fellowship at the Brigham and Women's Hospital on the admin side. That department trains the doctors that run the ICU, where, if you remember during COVID, most of the COVID patients were considered critical that went into the ICU unit. Being around that, being in government, made me apt and a community voice. And the number one thing is being from community. Understanding also, after working over 2 years for two of the world's top psychosomatic psychiatrists, understanding some level of mental wellness and mental health. Jimmy, why you give us those last 2 minutes? I have and am a credible voice in this community. Legacy and mainstream media may seem or see that as competition, as I said before, rather than going to the TV or even online now to watch 4, 5, 7, 25, your local, if you're watching from some other places, you can go to the internet. You can go to, let me go in order, my website, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and my personal page on Facebook. For those of you that are watching right now, that is how you're watching. Legacy mainstream media understands that the value of community voices is at the highest it has ever been since media has been around. I keep saying it. We can customize our media experience, and they recognize that. They are not in a lot of the customization. With that being said, credible voices are being invited into spaces where there is a standard set for journalists. Journalists are to be unbiased and just present the news without opinion. Respect that. I have said since 2020, I am not a journalist. So I and some community voices are, and may go into spaces where they may be subject to the standards of journalists. That was my experience. I will be balanced and say that based on that criteria, it was decided by said legacy mainstream entity that they no longer wanted me on their air because I was employed by, as an entrepreneur, as a respected community voice, by an entity that was in the process of facilitating a ballot question. I've been transparent about this. I was employed by Rideshare because I personally believed that our drivers needed to stay independent. The station, through journalism, wrote an article. 3 journalists wrote an article and titled it, I should have had it ready, please excuse me, Java with Jimmy becomes voice for corporate greed, or something like that. This was not verbatim. That article went out, and from a journalistic standpoint, respected. I was told via text the day before my 4-year anniversary that we would not continue to be in partnership. In addition to that, I respect that journalist's standard. We would want our journalists who just report the facts in the news to be unbiased. I am not a journalist, and I don't know if I said it yet. I am a commentator. I commentate, I give opinion. On some things, I'm clearly one sided, especially when it leans toward equity. That happened. The process of that happening, I was presented with options that would limit my ability to be a free agent entrepreneur outside of checking in, quote unquote, maybe for permission to host, to be a part of other platforms. And over a 7-month process with exclusivity, it was at max about $5,800. Exclusivity, which would limit a community voice from being as communal as they can be, unless you got a sign off from saying, hey, I was approached, any issue with me going? Well, anyway, I was presented a contract. And when I tell you, the markup that went back on said contract was a rainbow. Not this, not that. I will say, I did achieve, and people in the industry said that that was good. And I'm going to say something in a few minutes where after today's live, the wholeness, my road to healing is more solidified. Contract was a rainbow. Well, got off a little bit. Lost my train of thought of where I was going. I understand that through that contract and the limited amount of money that I was being offered, I could not do that and be exclusive. After everything happened, within about 48 hours, I was contacted by the CEO and basically received an apology. I want to be clear about that. I received an apology. A couple of weeks later, we went to break bread and talk. And it was a very interesting meeting. And I went in there adamant. I will never, ever do anything with you ever again. Through some very passionate conversation, we left with the notion of we messed up and we are aware of a model that where this worked. We're going to check it out and we will get back to you. That weekend where there was a visit to, see the model was the first weekend in May. We are approaching the second week in December. The only thing that I heard was this morning, after no regard for a community voice, an ask for access to someone with whom I work. No reference to, hey, it's been a while. Sorry, things didn't work out. However, I'm going to be 100. Can you connect us? We understand that you work with them. Can you connect us? Nothing. And I was triggered. And it was about a week and a half ago, I realized that the old Jimmy, of which some of you may be familiar, was beating at my heart to come out. Harm was done to a community voice. And I'll be fair, at the level at which I had the most contact, I need to mention something else. I want to give homage and appreciation to a Latina woman in media by the name of Evelyn Brito. Saw what was going on with the Java Cafe and brought me in, started the conversation. And in fairness to her, I'll just say that she's no longer there. As sort of her project, and she who liaised my transition into this outlet, there was no notice given. And I've raised this directly with when I had my first contract meeting. And at the meeting, let me relax because my shoulders are up. And so my point for coming with you today, to be very honest, is first, I need to bring attention to the importance of, if you are a community voice, be authentic, be true to yourself. If you are a community voice that does not have a desire to go into journalism, but you may want to partner to enhance and raise your voice and your impact, be very sure and clear of parameters and expectations of what are expected of you. That was a lesson learned for me. Where harm was done, as a Black man, as someone who with community experienced the joy of people riding down the highway and seeing me on a huge, what's the thing? Marquee. I have pictures, I have videos, I have texts. My community was proud of me. And I will be 100. I have not always lived up to some expectations as this space as a commentator. I'm opinionated. I have relationships. I'm set in my ways. My manager was with me in that meeting, and I never articulated it, but to hear him say it that night, it hit me. Some of, well, my community was proud of me. And then to just abruptly stop. I know on the most superficial side, chatter, oh, what did Jimmy do? I'm aware of some chatter that was out there. No, I did not do anything unseemly and was asked to leave the station. That was the only rumor that I heard. I was working for an entity that was political, and that standard as a journalist was put on me. And then after that, I was apologized to, put my pride down after a very passionate, expressive meeting, and left the door open. Now, with me saying that, I know the comments might go, Jimmy, when one door closes, another opens. It does not negate the fact that we need to ensure that our community voices are supported by our community. I know, and I'm going to get ready to wrap up. I said when I first kind of got a feeling that things would get interesting, that no matter what, I considered myself a trailblazer. And in the apology, in their exploratory of a model that sort of works with community voices that can share their opinion on air, where it's mostly journalists. I was told by the CEO that no one will ever go through my experience. And so if that was, and in real time, I'm thinking about this. If that was the assignment on my end, that's okay. But it does not negate nor dismiss or let off the accountability of how this entity handled this community voice, especially when in an article, in one sentence, there was an award of $750,000. And in the next sentence, I and Latin, sort of other community voice, was cited. I also was told when I saw that article and I had my first contract meeting and I had people with me and they can attest. I asked, was I written in the article, in the grant? They said no. And I don't remember if it was no, but you were a or you were the inspiration for the community support grant that they were given to increase DEI community voices on that station. Whatever the outcome of being a trailblazer and me being able to maybe one day be a resource and someone says, hey, you know, I was approached by such and such a YouTuber or influencer. I just want to, you know, you did this before. Can you look at this? What do you think? I can be an informed and experienced resource to community in a different manner now. That's fine. It does not negate the harm that I had to process. It may not be completely over, but it's more than me. There's a, excuse me, there's an element of me doing this that will not only bring attention to said entity for them from March and maybe even more now to move differently, but others as well as community voices are rising. The last sort of superficial, petty thing that I will say is this wouldn't have happened like this. Bishop preached this thing one day. It had to happen, and it had to happen that way. This may have not happened today to get me on sort of a final rotary to my healing from this. Had not that email came through. I've been processing. I mentioned to somebody a couple of weeks ago about the blockage. I recognized it, and I was going to just send an email and say, you know, this is what y'all did. This is my resolve of just saying, you know, but it's more than me. As these legacy major media outlets are recognizing, pulling in, recognizing the value of and pulling in these community voices to for their, at the bottom line of the big wigs and the folks and the investors upstairs, it's the money. I got to give homage to people that work in journalism that are committed to community voices. Annie Scheffler, Pam Johnston, Howard and Chris and the people on the cameras, and I forgot the sister's name, that were committed. And I will say this and go. There are also, like in most of any real influential entities, and systems and structures in this country. White men who are scared and afraid. Never said this term before. The browning of media, the blackening of media, the digitalization of media. So there's both sides. Those that are in journalism there, those that support it, folks that don't believe in the DEI, the digital, that's what we'll say from now on. The digital DEI of media. I hope I gave balance to the harm and also the validity, though not intended, harm done, but the validity of the vehicle in which the harm was done. I don't know if I should go into the comments. There's 35 of them. Oh, Jesus. Stan, thank you. This is my brother. For those of you that don't know, yesterday, Brother Joseph Bennett, if you all remember, from 2000, Lord Jesus, from last year, HBO Murder in Boston talked about what many of us remember and lived through Stop and Search and all of that with the Murder in Boston case. Yesterday, my brother, all his charges were dropped. I forgot what the term is. Pro no something. He free. I was contacted today to make a connection with Mr. Bennett. The entity knows that I support my brother in publicist sort of space. We joke about it. I'm his soft publicist. And so that's who they reached out to connect with. And I sat there baffled. And I called and I did what I was supposed to do as a soft publicist. It was a little mix of my emotion with it. And Joey, oh God, you know I'm in a place. 2 all day. And respect and love and strength your way. Because you too, sir, though many before, have been trailblazed. You are a trailblazer. To come home, intentionally move in the space of supporting men who have been wrongfully convicted in a space of wellness and mental health. Respect and salute to you, sir. All right. Uh-oh. Aaron, did I do all right? All Aaron's in here had to come and figure out what he talking about in unscheduled show. Someone done got him. I appreciate also the Davis system. I wanted to, she's not on, but I wanted to thank and appreciate Anissa Benjamin of AMI Media. Anissa has been with us for like the last few months, and she is just, there's some stuff that y'all aren't aware of unless you follow her on social media. She's doing a lot. And so she's doing some great things. And so we're switching up some things on operations end. But maybe she'll go back and watch or whatever, Anissa, but thank you. We appreciate it. But to Anthony and Aaron, Newt, Miguel, Sean, Thaddeus, I'm naming these names who there's a dual support and Miss Teresa, but differently. She's swag. And there for me too, but all of the everybody, but those names that I named and my mom, I've observed investment in me as a person and this platform. And so just want to say thank you. Joseph, I love you, dog. On some, never mind. Love you too, Aaron. This feels good. I did it. I didn't cuss. We have a lot more to do. Voices like ours are going to be more paramount in these next two, don't get it twisted, next 2 and 4 years. And next year, there's a local election. I love all of you too and appreciate all of you so much. And thank you all for bigging up the good brother, Joey Bennett, and to the whole Bennett family. It makes me think of a joke from back in the days. We get ready to wrap up and be a little bit light. I can't stand Miss Teresa. Remy! This woman has told me this online. She's told me it in Boston. She's told me it on Miami Beach. She's told where Atlanta. She's told me it in Atlanta. Me and Remy have done stuff all over the country together. Love you, sis. Let me just show these. Congratulations to Brother Bennett. Michelle D. Smith, Joseph Bennett, truly God is good all the time, and all the time God is good. Knew by faith that you were going to be cleared of all false charges. Absolutely. Stan, just Stan, what's up, brother? Oh wow, congrats, brother Joseph. Paula Correa. Did you send that link? I gotta go back and look. Teresa said, please know your professional and personal opinion matters to so many people. I have been witness to people hanging on to. That's a lot. Proud of you. Prior Java success story. Sorry that you had to experience. Grateful you didn't compromise your integrity and give up the power of your voice. Praying and trusting God continues to cover you. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be in here for Brother Joseph. Yo, y'all ain't seen nothing yet from this dude. His brain is just, yeah. All right. Benjamin, how are you, sir? I appreciate you, sir. We're going to get ready to wrap up. I want to wrap up with this. Did I finish a statement about the fact that I did achieve 50-50 intellectual property rights on all my shows on GBH? So I have all the files, and at any time I can show them when I want to. And soon we will be showing the episode where Joseph Bennett appeared and talked about his story. And not many days hence, Joseph Bennett is going to join us in the Java Cafe after dark and update us on all that God is doing for him and in his life. But I want to end with this one. If you would indulge me. Where is it? Just indulge me a little bit. I'm going to speed it up. I know where it is because Catherine leans over.
Importance of, I'll just simplify it, getting the bag when you have rehearsed, you wrote tracks, you picked a uniform, you've got back.
Something happened here that day.
Actually, I'm going to save these two for last. Executive leadership, Pam Johnson. Later, we are not only here.
Where is it? Catherine.
Really,
Oh, here it goes. Here it goes. Here it goes. Y'all know
Also, I would
this.
like to thank, she just started, Rachel, who's the intern here that is helping out. Thank you so much, Rachel. And the last two people I want to thank, in reference to GBH, Evelyn Brito and Annie Shepard. These women have been on the phone with me. They've emailed, they've texted, and I really, really appreciate them. I'm crying now because I told folks this morning, I haven't had the chance to really absorb this. I'm not supposed to be here. This was not, what I mean by that was, this was not an
Just maybe. I wasn't supposed to be.